Hey yo, ATL, stand up. You're locked in with the livest, realest, rawest talk in the game. This is the Bro Code Podcast ATL, where the culture talks back, the vibes stay heavy, and the code always respected. Don't touch that dial. Keep it right here, because we breaking the code live from the A.
Welcome to the Bro Code Podcast. Join Kennedy Lucas, Terry Lester, and Jackson Smith as they break down the biggest plays, share locker room banter, and keep it 100 on sports hot takes. Gear up, because this is where the real talk begins. Cause this is where the real talk begins. Gear up. Cause this is where the real talk begins.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the hottest sports show in Atlanta. Here's the latest in sports. This is the Bro Code Podcast ATL, presented by iHeartMedia. The 2025-26 NBA season is slowly approaching, and we're still a long way from any serious postseason conversations. However, in a league known for its superstar shakeups, surprise runs, and playoff plunders, it's clear that anything can happen from October to April. Injuries will be a huge factor in the Eastern Conference, as recent front-running contenders such as the Boston Celtics and Indiana Pacers might slip in the standings due to the impact of their missing leaders. In a competitive Western Conference, standings don't seem as set in stone. Last season, the seeding for the playoffs wasn't settled until the last day of the regular season. And this season, after some major moves, most notably Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets, expect to see another tense standings race. Take a look at how our NBA experts predicted the win-loss records for all 30 teams in the league. Note, our 2025-26 NBA summer forecast continues Thursday, with the predictions for conference and finals champions. On Tuesday, we revealed our picks for which players will win the league's biggest awards, including MVP, DPOY, and more. The Cavaliers are returning 93% of the minutes from last season's 64-win team, made two defensive offseason moves, adding Lonzo Ball and Larry Nance Jr., and saw two major conference rivals lose stars, Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton, to season-ending injuries. Yet, going into the season, the Cavs and All-Stars Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Darius Garland are only slight favorites at ESPN Bet to win the East over the Knicks. The Cavs beat the Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns-led Knicks 4 times last season and won 13 more games. No doubt New York is formidable, having reached the conference finals and added some depth upgrades with Jordan Clarkson and Gershon Yabusele on bargain deals. But when people refer to the East as wide open, a sentiment assuredly going to be heard throughout the next few months. It's coded language for no confidence in the Cavs. It's not unreasonable. They have underwhelmed in the playoffs in consecutive seasons, and their core remains largely the same, even if injuries played a role both times. This is reflected in our projections. The Cavs sit at the top, but it's more a matter of default than demand. In fact, generally, there is not much confidence in the relative strength of the East at all. Only 3 East teams are projected to win more than 47 games. This feels impossible, since last season there were 5 that finished above that mark, but especially because, inherently, the elite East teams will end up with the easiest schedules. But the Cavs, Knicks, and Magic all have flaws and fragility. There is a definite window for a team like Orlando, fresh off the aggressive move to add Desmond Bane, to gain on the top teams. The same could be said for the Hawks after their own aggressive move to pluck Kristaps Porzingis off the Celtics and add Nickeil Alexander-Walker. The panel sees both making a move in the East, but not yet overtaking the top teams. If the landscape of the East has been altered entering this season, it's largely due to the injuries and departures of stars. Three torn Achilles during last season's playoffs have dramatically changed the trajectory for the Bucks, who parted with Damian Lillard after his torn Achilles in the first round. The Celtics, who dismantled their championship core after Tatum suffered the same injury in the second round, and the Pacers, whose bright future was put on hold when Halliburton tore his Achilles during the NBA Finals. It's why those three teams, all recent winners of the conference, are projected to be in the middle of the pack, fighting to avoid the play-in tournament. The Heat won the East Finals 2 years ago, but after trading Jimmy Butler, it's unclear if they can defy expectations once again. Philadelphia might be the most difficult team in the conference to project, considering the uncertainty surrounding Joel Embiid's health. The teams in this group all enter the season with major question marks that put them below the elite teams in this conference. After falling into the bottom of the East standings, these 5 cellar-dwelling teams can be sorted into 3 different groups. First, it's the team that has the potential to rise into the play-in group, the Raptors. Toronto didn't trade Brandon Ingram last spring and instead gave him a 9-figure extension. Teams sitting in the luxury tax don't expect to be projected to be at the bottom of the standings. If Toronto is eliminated from postseason contention, it'll be a major disappointment. Then it's 2 teams at a crossroads, the Bulls and the Hornets. Both have talented players who are approaching their primes. Josh Giddey and Kobe White in Chicago, LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller in Charlotte. Some long-term hopeful building blocks: Matas Buzelis and Noah Esongwe, Tijan Saiwan and Con Quipple. And rosters that could wind up fighting either for a play-in spot or for a spot near the top of the lottery. And then there's the Nets and Wizards, for whom there is no ambiguity. These 2 teams will be hoping to land in the top 4 of the 2026 NBA Draft, which portends to have a stacked group of prospects. This season, they will be playing tons of young players, making trades for future assets, and focusing on, hopefully, a different outcome in the lottery next May. Get used to hearing this. The Thunder are the clear-cut frontrunner in the West. Fresh off becoming the youngest NBA title team in almost 5 decades, Oklahoma City has as much continuity as any defending champion ever has, as its entire extended rotation returns intact. Reigning scoring champion MVP and Finals MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is early in his prime.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to another exciting podcast. This is, of course, one of our highly anticipated sports shows here in Atlanta. This is the Bro Code Podcast ATL, presented by iHeartMedia and K.L.P. Entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. We hope that you guys are ready for another exciting episode of the Bro Code Podcast on Tuesday, a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. By the way, if you missed it, you didn't want to miss it. But Monday's episode was pretty beefy, y'all. Please check out the latest episode, Bro Code Podcast ATL. On Monday, we did Monday's episode. We talked about a lot of great things on that show. A lot of correspondence, a lot of stories, and a lot of things that come out when it comes down to the Bro Code Podcast ATL. We hope that you guys are ready for another exciting show here today. And I'm here to sort of semi-announce T and Jackson and audience that, of course, we'll be back at East Forsyth for the Broncos on Friday. It has been confirmed today for another home matchup. I can't wait to get behind the scenes and give you guys everything that we need to give you onto the social media part for Saturday's upload. So we're ready for it. I'm super, super excited for it. And I want to thank you guys for watching the content too. Content on Instagram, content everywhere has been very, very amazing. Not only for the Bro Code Podcast, but also for K.L.P. Aftermath Podcast as well. We thank y'all so very much. Like I say, in each episode, I try not to harp on it too much, but we do work really hard on these shows and to give you guys the best quality show that we can. And I'm thankful. I'm very, very thankful for everything that you guys have given us in terms of viewership and viewer watch. It is very, very exciting. So I just got to say thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts and on behalf of our entire cast and crew and team members here for Bro Code Podcast ATL. Now let's get to the sports of announcements here today, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know what I've been doing lately. I've been corresponding with not only the Major League Baseball Association, but also the WNBA. Of course, on Monday's episode, I did did a kind of prediction of who's going to make it to the WNBA playoffs. Again, watch that episode if you guys want to know. But here's the top story that's been going on. An influx of young talent is helping transform the WNBA. If you guys don't know, and I'm here to talk generic about just some of the ladies that are in the WNBA with their rookie All-Star seasons. Of course, the rookie All-Stars Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese made an immediate impact on last season. Let me tell you, those two ladies last season was quite amazing, right? Quite amazing to see that they made that impact for 2024. But now 2025's first year players have allowed suit. Of course, Paige Beckers. I've been watching Paige Beckers with her performance. It's good to see because really with her rookie year, she already got a bag commercial, luxury bag commercial, right? She's already out there. Sonia Critton is out there. Kiki Epherian, if I probably pronounced her last name kind of incorrectly, I apologize. But they were named All-Stars this summer. With the number 2 pick, Dominic Malonga has been in the setting of WNBA production records as a teenager. Now, the 6 All-Stars younger than the age of 25 this year are the most since 2011. Jackson, and the 2024, which was 2, right, and 2025 drafts, which they had 3, have already produced as many or more All-Stars as total between the years of 2021 and the years of 2023, that being Aaliyah Boston and Ryan Howard. Again, very, very excited for these two ladies as well. Now, ranking these young players are required of making some very hard calls within their performance, particularly at the top where Boston, Beckers, and Clark have all shown MVP potential. We've put them in order based on their expected peak value rather than the current production, meaning Malonga, the league's youngest player at the age of 19. Look, that's quite amazing. Where you're in the league and you're at the age of 19, you're not even old enough to drink yet. But if you're good, you're good. They'll pay for it. Gets an extra credit for her upside relative to players whose performance are the most consistent right now. Of course, to be eligible for ESPN's 25 under 25 players must have played in the WNBA already. So stash picks such as Joyce Giuseppe and taking number 5 by the Golden State Valkyries with their first rookie draft pick, they're not eligible, right, within those records. Again, with that in mind, we're going to break down the brightest young talent within the WNBA. Now, at number 1, Caitlin Clark. We all know it, Indiana Fever, all right, 6 feet, point guard. Now, due to her injuries, she has been limited to 13 games this season. Now, obviously, we've talked about it, reviewed about her injuries. Her average was 16.5 points with 8.8 assists and 5 rebounds, of course. But when healthy, when she's not injured, when she's not hurt, when she's not off for the season, Clark's impact is enormous. She stretches the floor with more shooting range from her, pushing the pace and picks the defense apart with her passing. Of course, the 23-year-old brings an unmatched excitement factor every time she's on the court, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen it happen multiple times. It's been quite amazing to see Caitlin Clark with the Indiana Fever within her performance before she got hurt, right? Now, her confidence spreads the whole team, and she also is the biggest draw on the road of any WNBA player so far. So her effect in the entire league is huge. She's been a topic of conversations between her and Angel Reese. So it's really amazing to say that she's doing something very efficient with the Indiana Fevers. Now, at number 2, we're ranking Paige Beckers. Let me tell you, from the Dallas Wings. Guard, let me tell you, Paige Beckers, that girl can play. I mean, they couldn't really get out their matchup with the Aces, right? But this girl can play. Now, expectations for Paige Beckers is high. Entering the pros with one GM telling, of course, to ESPN, she is a Hall of Famer. In year 1, she has largely lived up to the hype and is on pace to join Caitlin Clark as one of the only players to average 19 points and 5 assists in their rookie season. Paige Bueckers officially has the most carried over UConn with her 46.6 percentile field goal shooting, the best of any guard averaging at least 16 points in the league, ladies and gentlemen. Paige Bueckers, in our eyes, she also shown that her mid-range game still has a place in the modern world of basketball, especially in WNBA. Now, even in 2025, Paige Bueckers earning the crowning achievement came last week when she became the first player to drop 40-plus points in a game on 80% efficiency with the Dallas Wings. Let me tell you, she got this young lady. She has a bright future in the WNBA, and I've seen her, right? I was watching not only Dallas Wings and Aces games, but any games of WNBA lately. Paige Bueckers is on a new commercial, right? So she's getting those brand deals quick in her rookie season. It's pretty good. Because I think I've said this before, T, that it's not only the players who play ball, right? Because I've been a big cheerleader when it comes down to the ladies wanting to get paid more. Obviously, I'm on that field too. I think WNBA stars should be able to be paid like the regular NBA stars. You know, you got NBA stars that get paid millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. I want to see that with the ladies, but the brand deals is what's going to bring them the extra cash flow. It's really good. Number 3, Aaliyah Boston, Indiana Fever. She is the center forward, 6'5". And let me tell you, these ladies are tall, right? I'm 5'8". So when I see 6 foot, 7 foot, 6 foot, 5 inches, yeah, you taller than me, right? Because I'm only 5'8". Now, the Fever for Aaliyah Boston, the Fever began to rebuild well before Clark arrived in Indianapolis. Of course, the 2024 number 1 pick, Aaliyah Boston, is just as crucial as the Fever's success as Clark is, right? And it has been a major factor in keeping the team afloat this season, you know, as is a negative, as it navigates through its injuries. I think there's a lot of ladies for Fevers right now. They're getting injured left and right this season. Boston is averaging a career best of 15.2 points, 4th best among players under 25, and shooting the efficient 54.6 on the floor. 3rd best in the same group, Aaliyah Boston has a franchise record of 15 doubles this season so far. 4th most in the leagues. Boston's fascination has always been a strength, but especially a tandem with Clark. Of course, with Aaliyah Boston can still level up her rookie season. Her rookie year was focused on playing in the post. Of course, last season was about involving the pick and roll with Clark. During the offseason, Aaliyah Boston focused on conditioning, and this summer she's become a bigger part of the team and of the threat for floor spreaders, of course, with the Indiana Fevers. It's always good to see those records, those numbers for Boston, and again, being a top pick for the draft season when it comes down to it. We're at number 4, Dominique Malonga. She plays for the Seattle Storm Center. She's, let me get her, 6'6". These ladies are tall. Look, and I'll save it for K.L.P. aftermath, but there's just something about tall ladies. But we'll keep that on the low there. There is no regrets about the Storm passing a pair of rookie all-star to take Malonga, growing over the course of her first season in the United States, with the number 2 pick, has blossomed in August. She's averaging at a 13.5 PPG and a 7.4 RPG and a 60 percentile shooting on field on court. Malonga, her athleticism allows her to make plays no other player her size can make, because she's 6'6". She's tall. And she's also displayed incredible touch as a shooter. Now, given Malonga would be entering her 2nd college season if she were American. She has years of development ahead. That gives Malonga those who's with 3 20-point games are the most ever in a WNBA player, and she is MVP potential. So very, very good to see that, of course. Angel Reese from the Chicago Sky is ranked number 5th. She's 4, she's 6'3". Feel bad for the Chicago Sky. They're out of contingent for the playoffs. Like, I got to root for Chicago, the Chicago Sky, and I think a lot of people, before we went on air, a lot of people asked me, what team for football am I looking forward to? I forgot to mention, I'm looking forward to the Bears. I'm a big Chicago guy, right? I've been to Chicago twice. I love Chicago, love the area of Chicago. I love the Chicago vibe. So I got to root for the Chicago teams. Now, Angel Reese. After shattering rebound records as a rookie, the biggest question surrounding Angel Reese was how she could evolve and grow in her sophomore year, right? So she spent much of the unraveled season working on her shooting game, and it showed, right? It showed this season. Unfortunately, it had, this Chicago Sky, they are no longer contended for playoffs, but she really worked up. She really practiced her shooting from last year to this season. Her scoring and her efficiency was improved this season in the W's, of course, but Angel Reese's biggest offensive jump has come in her playmaking. She's averaging at 3.7 assists per game, top 5 among all forwards, and then most among WNBA players under the age of 25. Of course, Angel Reese excels at passing in the post, but nod to her chemistry to Camila Cardoso, and better understanding how her presence down low opens her up with her teammates and more. Now, on her defense, Angel Reese, her rebounding is as good as ever that I've seen. She leads the league with 12.2 shots and boards per game, and just 25 games in, has already tied her rookie record as the fastest player in the WNBA history to reach 300 rebounds in a single season. Very good for that. Then we have at number 6, Sonia Critton, of course, plays for the Washington Mystics, guard and forward, 6'1". Sonia Critton was the number 3 pick of this year's draft, has blown away expectations for her rookie season. Let me tell you, when you're able to go out there and to really perform really well in your rookie season, and you're able to give it your all your rookie season, especially when you've been drafted, you get to stay on the team a little bit longer than usual, right? When you get drafted, of course, and the expectation is blown away. Emerging Washington's team to go score after Brittany Sykes' trade, as well as a legitimate perimeter stopper, of course. More of the role player alongside Notre Dame backcourt of Hannah Adelgo and Olivia Miles. Critton is averaging more points, 15.2, with the W, than she did her college senior, which was a 14.1. Of course, with Sonia, she has maintained her efficiency, her shooting percentile at 42% in the threes, and then 88% on from the line. Critton's .608 true shooting percentage ranks in the WNBA's top 10, and at the age of 21. Of course, she's younger than the typical college product. Younger. Very, very good. Very, very good. Love to see it. Then we have, of course, Angel Reese, his right hand lady. Of course, Camila Cardoso also plays for the Chicago Sky. She's a center, 6'7". Good. 6'7". I'm looking at our producers because they if you guys know from T and Jackson audience, most of us here in the studio, we're pretty short, so that's why we smirk and we laugh. So Camila Cardoso, the number 3 pick in the 2024 draft, Cardoso has improved her stats from a rookie season across the board, averaging at the average of 13.4 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. Now, the 9 out of 28 Sky have struggled and missed the playoffs for the second year in a row. Again, like I said, Chicago Sky, unfortunately, they're not in contended for playoffs. But at the age of 24, Cardoso has shown the kind of progress that a young post player needs, which bodies well with a long-term career. Of course, at number 8, Rickea Jackson, Los Angeles Sparks, forward, 6'2". Now, this young lady, I've been watching her really, really well. I think she's been doing some amazing things, Jackson. Now, the Overlookers called Jackson pro-ready since the days at Tennessee. Let me tell you, I've watched a lot of Tennessee players, right? University of Tennessee. I've seen them. Since arriving at the number 4 pick in 2024, she has shown why she can be a matchup nightmare for those opposite defenders, and at her best with a prolific bucket, grader, and stellar shot creator. Already boasting 820-plus points per game with the Sparks, the Los Angeles Sparks. That's the team she plays on. Since mid-June, the more efficient and consistent she could be offensively, and she can stay steady on defense, the more Jackson will further establish herself as one of the best young talents in this game. That's why I say I've been watching her. I've been watching. And you know, and T and Jackson, y'all know who else I've been watching? Who also plays for the Sparks? 6'4" forward. That's Miss Cameron Brick. Let me tell you. I'm a big fan of Cameron Brick too, because my producer's about to... she's really cute, right? But this woman here. Let me tell you what Brink's been doing and why she's a great contender for our record, for our list here for today. Brick is one of the most difficult players for our panel to assist, given that she's played in only 26 games over the last 2 years and is still making her way back to full form following the June 2024 ACL tear. I saw bits and pieces of that when she had that tear. Very, very sad, because with any lady out there, you know, ACL tour, MCL tour, any type of strain, it puts a damper on you, right? But it was easy to see why she went from number 2 in the 2024 draft, particularly shining on the defensive end as an elite rim protector. While she's still getting her feet back under after returning from the floor in late July, her three-point shooting, of course, 20 to 44, and that's a 45.5 percentile, has excelled, right? A good sign that her offensive development. I can't wait to see what Miss Cameron Brink does for the Los Angeles Sparks. It's always bad to see an injury when it comes down to it, because I get very, very sad when people are hurt and people are going down into it. Then that's our top 10 highlights, the top 10 players that we're looking at for our records here today for all of the ladies. They've got a lot of things going on when it comes down to it, and that's our top list when it comes down to the ladies being very, very excelling in the program, right? They're excelling in a lot of things. They're doing a lot of things when it comes down to it, and that's why we say, well, it's 25 under 25. I'm naming 10 because we don't have time for the full 25, but those are my top 10 ranking WNBA's best young players. Let me tell you, they're getting younger, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think I mean that in a good way, because, you know, younger talent comes in and you'd be amazed at how much this younger talent can come onto the sport and really do their thing out. And it really gets them, it really works for them. And I really like it. So our top 10 out of 10 under 25 best young WNBA players so far. So we'll continue to watch to see what these ladies do.
They were on the sideline staring directly into the camera during the final preseason game. Jackson Dart, the young and brash rookie quarterback, took one in his hands and put it in the shape of a sideways W. He turned toward veteran Jameis Winston and pretended to feed it to him. This was Dart giving Winston his famous "eat a dub" gesture. After the game, Tommy DeVito joined Dart and Winston in a viral post-game video for the team where they were eating W's. DeVito had just thrown 3 touchdowns in what turned out to be his final game before the Giants cut him Tuesday. Dart led the team on an opening drive score to complete a pristine preseason, and Winston tossed a long touchdown pass on his first attempt in the 42-10 win over the New England Patriots at MetLife Stadium on Thursday. Everyone was enjoying the perfect preseason for the Giants, including the 3 amigos and 3 tutties, as Winston declared them. Their quarterback club actually had 4 members through the preseason, but veteran Russell Wilson didn't play in that preseason finale. He couldn't join the touchdown tossing party. Much like the post-game video portrayed, the Giants quarterback group is an interesting mix of characters, even without the fan favorite DeVito. And you never know what to expect, like the day when Winston showed up at a team meeting with a watermelon. He just sat with the watermelon, which he said was for his kids. He later had it cut up for the quarterback room to enjoy. That's Jameis Winston. Giants wide receiver Jalen Hyatt said, "Winston is the ultimate character. You never quite know what he's going to say or do. Wilson is much more predictable. He's the buttoned-up veteran beaming with optimism and serious about his business. Dart is a young first-round pick overflowing with aura. It's quite the mix of backgrounds and personalities, all deeply invested in the other's success. It's a really fun room to be a part of because it's super competitive that way," Dart said. "We have an amazing relationship between all of us. It's definitely fun. We're all each other's biggest fans when we're on the field." General Manager Joe Schoen and Coach Brian Dable, who are 18-32-1 in 3 seasons and coming off a disastrous 3-14 campaign, are gambling their professional lives on this working. This is a group they put together in an off-season where it was undoubtedly a priority to rebuild the quarterback room. Dart, who looked the part of franchise QB during a spectacular preseason, is the future. Every move is to make sure he's in the right environment to develop and grow, all while the Giants are competitive enough to outrace the stench from last season's debacle. "It's a good situation for all the guys," Dable said. The Giants' quarterback pursuit this past offseason ran the gamut. They made a run at Matthew Stafford via trade, want to sign Aaron Rodgers, or potentially trade for Cam Ward at the top of the draft. They took an extended look at several prospects, including Shadur Sanders, but ultimately assessed them to be not a fit. When none of those options panned out, they pivoted. Among the Giants' scenarios were signing 2 veteran quarterbacks that would address the present need to win some games and compete now, while simultaneously creating a solid environment to develop a rookie. Winston signed first. Wilson landed in New York the following week. The Giants traded up to take Dart at the back in the first round, 25th. A month later, and DeVito was the lone holdover. When you look at the quarterback room, it's completely different for the most part, Assistant General Manager Brandon Brown said. "In our off-season planning between Joe, Dable, Assistant Head Coach, Offensive Coordinator, Mike Kafka, Shea, we were very intentional in terms of getting the right pieces and creating the right environment. One, for a young quarterback to grow in terms of Jackson, but also to win on the field. That meant adding veterans who can play and were good influences on a future franchise quarterback. Enter Wilson and his attention to detail. There was a play in the Giants' second preseason game against the New York Jets where Wilson hit wide receiver Bose Collins for an 80-yard gain that ended when Collins was tackled at the 1-yard line. Right tackle Jermaine Illuminor said he was jogging downfield and slowed just for a second. That's when Wilson reminded Illuminor they needed to hurry. They were playing with speed and tempo. He has such a high standard, Illuminor said. He's been to the peak. It's also not uncommon for the Giants receivers to receive weekly texts or calls about a detail for a route or the offense. The Giants have been adamant about how Wilson's leadership has benefited the entire team. Wilson's presence has a completely different feel from that of seasons past, that he has their full respect because he knows what it takes to be successful and win a Super Bowl. He's disgustingly consistent. Wide receiver Darius Slayton said as a compliment, Wilson's intentional work on and off the field has found space to include his fellow QBs. Winston, Dart, and DeVito were guests at Wilson's Why Not You Foundation's $3 million dinner on the 50-yard line at MetLife Stadium just last week, enjoying the night out together. Winston might be the vibes guy, but Tierney said he knows when it's time to work. Winston is regularly on the field after practice, throwing to some of the younger wide receivers. He's often the last quarterback off the field. Teammates and coaches have stressed that Winston is invaluable to the locker room, especially with Dart. Winston has taken Dart under his wing. Together they do yoga and late-night stretching and training. It's not unusual to see them working on unorthodox stretches in the weight room at 7 or 8 p.m. It's wild, Dart said of some of the stretching. But why not try it? There's still an age and experience gap. Wilson, 36, and Winston, 31, are married with children. They sat together in a suite at a Yankees game with their families as recently as this past weekend. Dart, 22, is a bachelor living in New Jersey. Wilson and Winston bring a different level of maturity and experience. I think he's growing every day, Wilson said recently of Dart. I think the experience of him being around us too, to be able to communicate with him. There's like no secrets in the quarterback room. We always share information, and I think it's important that I help him in whatever way, if he has any questions or whatever. I think he's just learning every day, and I think it's fun. We're having a blast. We're all rooting for each other just to be better every day. We can continue to elevate our room, continue to elevate the team. We get better as a team. We want everybody to be great, and that's what it's about. Composition of quarterback rooms varies around the league. There is no magic formula for success. It's contingent on the individuals. Dable was the offensive coordinator in Buffalo and shown the assistant general manager when they didn't have a Super Bowl winner around Josh Allen during his rookie year with the Bills. They had Nathan Peterman, Derek Anderson, and Matt Barkley. Kafka saw a young Patrick Mahomes spend his rookie season with steady veteran Alex Smith and Tyler Bray when he was the offensive quality control coach of the Kansas City Chiefs during the 2017 season. Most recently in New York, Daniel Jones shared a QB room with Super Bowl winner Eli Manning and Alex Tanney, now the quarterback's coach of Philadelphia Eagles. Manning thinks this quarterback room can be a good mix. I think having different personalities in a quarterback room is good, he said. There are different ways you can do it. There are different ways to play quarterback, different approaches, different mindsets. To have all those styles in a room, to discuss those things helps. I think the more insight you have in people who have done it and be successful or made mistakes also because you learn from those mistakes is good for a QB room. The Giants have a similar line of thinking. Brown said last week he appreciated teams' interest in acquiring Winston in a trade, but the Giants had no intention of trading him. Winston has value to the team beyond what he simply does on the field, such as galvanizing the group. Winston is also signed through 2026. In a perfect world, the Giants would like for him to be Dart's backup next season. Then they wouldn't have to address the quarterback position in the offseason. They would be set. In the meantime, Winston and Wilson can serve as positive influences on Dart. Experience is always important, and those guys provide, I'd say, a wealth of knowledge, Dable said. Could be on a specific play, could be a situation, could be how they take care of their body. Could be their preparation during the week as they're getting ready to play a game. It could be how they go through the calls on a call sheet and he's listening. I mean, there's so many things that position has to do. That's why they meet more than any other group. And so it's vital to make sure they put together the right mix of characters for the sake of Dable's and Schoen's jobs and the future of the franchise. Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has accepted a 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy and will start serving the suspension at the beginning of the season. The NFL announced Wednesday that Rice will be eligible to return to the Chiefs in Week 7 ahead of their October 19 game against the Las Vegas Raiders. He had been scheduled for a disciplinary hearing on September 30. In July, Rice was sentenced to 30 days in jail and 5 years probation for his role in a multi-car crash in Dallas that left multiple people injured during the 2024 offseason. The NFL handed down its suspension, which Rice will not appeal, after its own internal investigation. It voids a September 30 hearing before former federal judge Sue L. Robinson that was scheduled for the NFL's headquarters in New York. Rice, 25, pleaded guilty in district court to 2 third-degree felony charges: collision involving serious bodily injury and racing on a highway causing bodily injury. He received deferred adjudication, and the case will be dismissed if he completes the probation, along with missing the Chiefs' season opener in Brazil against the Chargers on September 5. Rice also will miss a Super Bowl rematch with the Eagles on September 14 at Arrowhead Stadium, a Sunday night trip to New York to face the Giants, a high-profile matchup with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens on September 28, a game against the Jaguars the following Monday night, and a Sunday night showdown with the Lions. Rice had 79 receptions for 938 yards and 7 touchdown catches in his 2023 rookie season. Last year, he suffered a season-ending injury in Week 4 after he tore the lateral collateral ligament in his right knee. He had 24 catches for 288 yards and 2 touchdowns in those 4 games. In a rare scenario Tuesday, the Chiefs kept 8 receivers: Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, Nico Remigio, Jason Brownlee, and rookie Jalen Royals on their initial 53-man roster. The Chiefs did this in case Rice agrees to a shortened suspension with the league, one that is different from what the NFL initially wanted, which was at least an 8-game punishment. Rice's status has been in limbo ever since he was driving a Lamborghini Urus SUV at 119 miles per hour on Dallas North Central Expressway, made multiple aggressive maneuvers around traffic, and struck other vehicles, prosecutors said. After the crash, Rice did not check on the welfare of those in the other vehicles, but instead fled on foot. Rice said last month in a statement issued by his attorney that he's had a lot of sleepless nights thinking about the damages my actions caused, and I will continue working within my means to make sure that everyone impacted will be made whole. The Dallas County District Attorney's Office said Rice will have some flexibility in when he must serve his jail time. He also was required to pay the victims for their out-of-pocket medical expenses, which totaled about $115,000.
All right, Marcus, my man, you ready to just jump straight into some wild 2025 NFL surprise predictions? I'm telling you, Dan Graziano's got some real zingers he's been cooking up. We're kicking it off in the NFC East, and this first one, woo, it's a doozy for sure.
I'm ready, Tyler. Hit me. So what's the big shocker coming out of the East right now? I'm curious,
Okay, so Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons. Dan says, don't be surprised if the Cowboys call edge rusher bluff. This whole contract mess, man, it's just gone completely sideways. Jerry, he thinks they had a deal, but Parsons, he blames Jerry for not dealing with his agent. He's like demanded a trade, not showing up. It's frosty, Marcus, real frosty down there for sure.
Wow. Parsons is their cornerstone, isn't he? So Jones is really playing hardball here? I mean, that's a huge gamble, right? What about the other teams there, like the Giants or Commanders?
Totally, man, totally. No last-minute deal, it seems. But then, check this out. New York Giants. Don't be surprised if the Giants lead the league in sacks. They drafted Abdul Carter, third pick, to join Burns, Lawrence, Thibodeau. I mean, that front, it's going to be absolutely ferocious. And for Washington, don't be surprised if Deebo Samuel gets some work at running back. Welker's on staff. He knows how to get Deebo the ball, Gonna be a big factor in that Commanders offense, man. Big factor.
Deebo in the backfield? Now, that's an interesting wrinkle for sure. And the Giants leading in sacks. I mean, if those two defensive predictions hit, the NFC East could be even more of a total slugfest, couldn't it? Really, yeah, just super intense.
All right, swinging up to the NFC North now, Marcus. And man, we got some real offensive fireworks predicted here. First up, Chicago Bears. Don't be surprised if rookie tight end Colston Loveland is a huge part of the Bears offense. He was the 10th pick, sure, but he was hurt earlier. Now, he's quarterback-friendly, big, fast, polished. His connection with Caleb Williams, it's already outstanding, He's going to be a go-to guy, man, I'm telling you.
Wow, over Odunze and Kmet? That's a bold claim for a rookie tight end, Tyler. So Caleb Williams might be leaning on him heavily, especially early on. That would definitely surprise a lot of fantasy owners, Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And then Detroit Lions. Don't be surprised if Jahmyr Gibbs is the top-scoring fantasy running back. He was second last year, right? But with Montgomery back, people think it'll be a split. The Lions, they think Gibbs has another gear. Interior O-line weakness might mean less between the tackles Montgomery, more Gibbs in space, more explosiveness.
Top scoring fantasy back? That's a huge claim, Tyler. Montgomery's presence has always kind of capped his ceiling, hasn't it? So you're saying Detroit's actually planning to fully unleash him this year, even more?
Yeah, exactly. They believe in him, man. And then Green Bay Packers. Don't be surprised if quarterback Jordan Love is an MVP finalist. He's fully healthy, number one. They had the youngest roster last year, still finished top 5 in defensive EPA. Added Matthew Golden, a true number 1 WR. They're set up to win a lot if Love stays healthy, Marcus. It's all there for him. I mean, it really is.
MVP finalists. That's a massive leap for Love, especially in that division. he's got to consistently perform against top contenders, right? That's the real test for him, like truly.
All right, heading south to the NFC South now, Marcus. And these predictions, man, they're going to make some folks nervous, especially down in Atlanta. Don't be surprised if tight end K.L.P. Sr. ends up getting traded. He's in the final year. They made no move to extend him. Averaged 49 catches, 10 TDs in 4 years. Not exactly what you want from a 4th overall pick, right? I mean, you'd expect more production.
Whoa, Pitts traded? That's a huge shift in direction for the Falcons, Tyler, especially after, investing so much in him. So they're really seeing him as not a fit for their offense anymore then? Like, they're giving up on him?
Sounds like it, man. Younger receivers are stepping up too, which doesn't help his case. But flip that script, Carolina Panthers. Don't be surprised if quarterback Bryce Young is in line for a contract extension next spring. They believe the improvement he showed late last season, it's going to carry over. He's gained confidence, got new receivers like Tetaroa McMillan and Xavier Legette. They think he's finally on the right track, Marcus. Like, truly.
A contract extension for Young? That's a massive turnaround for a guy who was, benched last year. So the Panthers actually think they fixed him? That's a lot of faith to put in a second-year guy.
Yeah, they're all in on his development. They really are. And then New Orleans Saints. Don't be surprised if Spencer Rattler gets a pretty long run as starting quarterback. He just beat out Tyler Shugg, the 40th pick. Rattler's already surpassed expectations, and if he performs like he did in camp, man, the job's his for a while. It's not a short leash, they're saying. Not at all.
Rattler holding on to the job? I mean, Shugg's younger, a higher pick. So they're really just riding a hot hand here. Like, even if they start losing, they'll stick with him for a bit? That's a surprise.
All right, sticking with the South for a minute, Marcus, then over to the West. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't be surprised if rookie Emeka Egbuka is the Bucs' leading receiver. The team is absolutely raving about this guy, man. Hyper advanced for a rookie, can play anywhere. Chris Godwin's uncertain timetable, Mike Evans is 32, Jalen McMillan's injured, Egbuka's got the trust of Baker Mayfield, and he's in line for a massive target share. He's going to blow up, I'm telling you.
Leading receiver as a rookie over a healthy Mike Evans, that's a huge call, Tyler. But the injuries to other guys definitely open up the opportunity, don't they? So you think he's, truly ready for that kind of workload from day one, really?
Absolutely. They're saying absolutely. And then Arizona Cardinals. Don't be surprised if tight end Trey McBride is the Cardinals' leading receiver again, even with Marvin Harrison Jr. Petzing's system is built to feature McBride as the top target, and the Cards see no reason for that to change. He had 111 catches, 1,146 yards last year. Fantasy managers, his touchdowns, they're going to climb too. Mark it down, I'm telling you.
Over Marvin Harrison Jr. That's a genuine surprise. I mean, you draft a talent like MHJ, you expect him to be the focal point, don't you? So they're really truly just sticking to their system and trusting McBride that much?
They love what McBride brings to that offense for sure. Now, Los Angeles Rams. Don't be surprised if quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo has to start at some point. Stafford's back issues, he's 37. Rams expect him healthy for week 1, but it's going to be monitored, They think he can play through it, but there could come a week he just can't. And that's where Garoppolo steps in, right? It's inevitable almost.
Garoppolo starting for the Rams? That's a big if on Stafford's health, isn't it? So even if they expect him back, they're implicitly admitting they've got a contingency plan ready just in case? That makes sense, I guess.
All right, staying in the NFC West for a second, Marcus, before we jump to the AFC. San Francisco 49ers. Don't be surprised if the 49ers end up back in the Super Bowl. A lot of people are sleeping on them after the injuries last year, But they still got McCaffrey, Trent Williams, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. I mean, tons of talent, man. If they stay healthy, there's no reason this can be an elite offense for Purdy again. Truly elite.
Back to the Super Bowl? I mean, they're always in the mix, but surprise for them to return after like last year's collapse? It relies heavily on health, doesn't it, Tyler? Especially for those key vets, and Purdy too.
Absolutely. And then Seattle Seahawks. Don't be surprised if their defense keeps them in the playoff race. Mike McDonald's in year 2, right? His defense has worked everywhere he's been. They were top 10 in efficiency last year, but middle of the pack in yards. Now, year 2 in the system, they're primed for a massive season, I'm telling you. They're going to be dominant.
A dominant Seahawks defense? That would totally change the dynamic of the NFC West, wouldn't it? So you're saying McDonald's system just like needs that extra year to click in a high gear and truly shine.
Totally. Now, jumping over to the AFC East, Miami Dolphins. Don't be surprised if the Dolphins are actually a wild card contender. All the vibes are bad, I know. Tua, Tyreek thing, injuries, McDaniel magic blowing away, but they started 2-6 last season and still finished 8-9. They identified strong culture guys, brought in leaders. McDaniel was 20-14 in his first 2 seasons. There's a chance, Marcus, a chance he gets him back, like a real chance.
Wild card contender. That's definitely going against the grain, Tyler. I mean, the hot seat talk for McDaniel is like everywhere, isn't it? So you're saying the team's internal adjustments might actually be, stronger than the outside perception, really?
All right, Marcus, keeping it in the AFC East. Let's talk about the New England Patriots. Don't be surprised if rookie Tre'Veyon Henderson is the team's #1 running back all season. He's been the most explosive element of their offense in camp, man. Concerns about workload? Sure, he split carries at Ohio State, but there's sentiment in Foxborough that he's the type of player they don't want to take off the field. He's going to be a workhorse, I'm telling you, absolutely.
Henderson has the #1 back all season. That's a big call for a rookie, Tyler, especially over Ramondre Stevenson, who's been their guy. So New England's really just going to, hand them the keys from day one? No questions asked?
Sounds like it. They really, really need that explosiveness in that offense, And then the New York Jets. Don't be surprised if the Jets lead the league in rushing. They're extremely high on second-year Braylon Allen, still only 21. They know what they have in Breece Hall. And then Justin Fields, man, one of the most electrifying runners at QB. This team's DNA is the run game. And if Fields can pass effectively, it'll just open up more lanes. Run, Marcus. That's their whole plan.
The Jets leading the league in rushing. That's a huge, huge prediction, Tyler. I mean, Fields' mobility certainly adds a dimension, but consistency across the board for that, kind of title, that's a big ask, isn't it? Even with those backs.
It is, but they got the pieces. They really do. And then heading to the AFC North, Baltimore Ravens. Don't be surprised if wide receiver Zay Flowers takes a third-year leap. He's their #1 receiver. His absence last year in the playoffs really hurt him. He's healthy, had a nice camp. But the main reason? DeAndre Hopkins has been with the team since spring, teaching him route running techniques just like he did for Worthy in KC. That's huge, Marcus. Absolutely huge for his development.
Zay Flowers taking a leap with Hopkins' help? I mean, the mentor impact is really tangible there, isn't it? So you're expecting a significant jump in production for him then, building on that foundation. That'd be exciting.
All right, Marcus, we're rounding the bases now, hitting some big ones in the AFC North, South, and West to wrap it up. First up, Cincinnati Bengals. Don't be surprised if the Bengals return to the AFC Championship game. Outside concern about the defense in preseason? Not shared inside the building, man. New scheme, they hit it on tape, I guess. First team D has looked good against Burrow in practice. If that unit gets back to even middle of the pack with their offense, they're dangerous, man. They know how to win playoff games. They truly do.
Return to the AFCCG? After last season's collapse? That's a bold bounce back prediction, Tyler. So you're saying the internal confidence is super high despite what the outside perception might be? That's interesting.
Totally. They're locked in, man, completely. And then Houston Texans. Don't be surprised if the Texans have the best defense in the league. They're excited about the quality and depth. I mean, really excited. Second-year corners, deep linebackers, high-end edge rushers like Hunter and Anderson. Top 5 in efficiency last year. Only 3 teams had more sacks. They're going to be dominant. I'm telling you, absolutely dominant.
Best defense in the league? That's a huge leap, even with their talent, Tyler. So you're really expecting their young stars to just like fully coalesce and dominate right away? That's a big ask, isn't it?
Yeah, they're primed. They truly are. And last one, Indianapolis Colts. Don't be surprised if the Colts pull an upset and win the division. Huge question at QB, I know. Daniel Jones beat out Richardson. But if Jones stays healthy, plays like he did for the Giants in 2022, with Taylor, a strong O-line, and a better defense under new DC Lou Anarumo, they believe they can build a representative offense, man. They're going to shock some people, Marcus. I'm telling you, they really are.
The Colts winning the division with Daniel Jones at quarterback? I mean, that's a true underdog story right there, Tyler. So their new coaching staff and like ownership, they're really feeling the pressure to deliver, huh? That's quite the prediction.
Pittsburgh and Nebraska looked to be on a collision course for the national championship when they headed into the NCAA Women's Volleyball Final Four last December. But by the time the weekend ended, Penn State had defeated Louisville for the program's 8th NCAA title. Katie Schumacher-Cauley became the first woman head coach to win the championship since the tournament began in 1981, and a major coaching change was about to take place. As we head into the 2025 season, those 4 schools are atop the AVCA Division I preseason poll. The Huskers lead the way with 40 first-place votes, followed by the Nittany Lions, 21, the Panthers, and the Cardinals. Past national champions Texas, Stanford, Kentucky, and Wisconsin round out the top 8. Those are the familiar names we expect to contend for the 2025 championship, which will be decided December 18-21 in Kansas City. But now former Louisville coach Danny Busboom Kelly leads Nebraska, replacing retired program legend John Cook. Dan Mesk, who had been associate head coach for the Cardinals, took over at Louisville. Busboom Kelly is a Nebraska native who previously won NCAA championships as a player and assistant coach with the Huskers, so it always seemed a matter of time before she went back. She built the Louisville program into a national powerhouse, and along with Pittsburgh coach Dan Fisher, helped elevate the ACC to elite status. But the Panthers and the Cardinals still seek their first NCAA title. Could this be the year for either? Will Nebraska win its 6th championship? Or might Penn State repeat and tie Stanford's record of 9 NCAA titles? More than 2,600 matches will be shown on ESPN platforms this season, culminating with every NCAA tournament match. The national semifinals will be on ESPN, and for the 3rd season in a row, the final will be on ABC. Here's a primer to get ready for the 2025 season. How soon do the powerhouses meet? Immediately. One of the great things about college volleyball is the top programs almost always face off in non-conference play. The AVCA First Serve Showcase at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, Nebraska, runs Friday through Sunday. It starts with Pittsburgh versus Nebraska at 7 p.m. Heute Friday. Sunday's matches, Florida versus Pittsburgh 1 p.m. ET and Nebraska versus Stanford 3:30, air on ESPN. The inaugural Broadway block party will be August 31 at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. It features Nebraska versus Kentucky, noon Eastern Time, ABC. Tennessee versus Purdue 3 p.m. ET, ESPN 2, and Vanderbilt versus Illinois 6 p.m. ET, SEC Network. Vanderbilt has brought volleyball back as a varsity sport after briefly sponsoring it in 1979-80. The sister of WNBA star Kelsey Plum, Lauren Plum, is an assistant coach for the Commodores' new program. What stood out from the transfer portal for this season? Like with every other sport, transfers are a major part of volleyball. Outside hitter Torrey Stafford going to Texas from Pitt was one of the biggest moves. The Panthers still have AVCA National Player of the Year Olivia Babcock, 5.94 points per set, back from last season's 33-2 team. But Stafford, who averaged 4.24 points per set in 2024, is big pickup for the always stacked Longhorns. Kentucky added firepower with outside hitter Eva Hudson, who led the Big Ten in kills per set last season at 4.81. Nebraska, which is also a magnet for transfers, added opposite hitter Ali Sksek from Baylor. How different will Nebraska be under new leadership? Realistically, not much. Busboom Kelly played for and coached with Cook for a long time before she took over the Louisville program. So this is as seamless a transition as Nebraska could have hoped for. Outside hitter Harper Murray is back for Nebraska. She led the Huskers in points per set, 4.01 last season. Andy Jackson and Rebecca Alec make a formidable middle blocker tandem, and Bergen Riley, the Big Ten setter of the year the last 2 seasons, returns to quarterback the Huskers. Admittedly, following someone as successful as Cook, head coach for 4 of the Huskers' NCAA titles and architect of a perennial championship contender, is not easy. Busboom Kelly has her own personality and coaching style. She's not a Cook clone. But in terms of the high quality of the product put on the floor for some of the nation's most ardent volleyball fans, she knows the expectations better than anyone. Last year, Nebraska went into the national semifinals poised to win its 6th title, and the Huskers took a 2-0 lead on Penn State. But in a nightmarish last match for Cook, the Nittany Lions won on a reverse sweep, then beat a Louisville team that had lost star player Anna DeBeer to an ankle injury in its semifinal. Despite that disappointment, Cook praised Busboom Kelly and Schumacher Cauley, whose teams met in the final, for their high-profile coaching roles in the sport. Any chance for a first-time NCAA champion this season? 4 of the programs in the AVCA preseason top 10. Pittsburgh, Louisville, no. 9 Texas A&M and no. 10 SMU have never won the NCAA title. The Panthers have been to the national semifinals the last 4 years in a row, but have not advanced to the final. Led by Babcock, they are still the best bet among teams looking for their first national championship. But keep an eye on no. 16 Florida, too. Mary Wise, who had led the Gators since 1991 and made the NCAA tournament every year, retired from coaching and is now part of ESPN's broadcasting crew. She guided Florida to the Final Four 8 times. Ryan Tice has taken over the program and will pursue the goal of winning an NCAA title. The Pro Volleyball Federation has rebranded into Major League Volleyball, or MLV, which will provide a place to play for some of the top college players when they turn professional. The PVF started in 2024 and has played 2 seasons, but the popular Omaha Supernovas franchise in Nebraska had conflicts with PVF management and intended to start its own league called MLV. Instead, there was a merger of sorts and PVF became MLV. MLV is scheduled to begin its 2026 season in January with teams in Atlanta, Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Indianapolis, Omaha, Orlando, and San Diego. 2 more teams in Washington, D.C., and Sacramento, California, are slated to join in 2027. While Cook retired as coach for the Huskers, he is still busy with volleyball. He recently was announced as a co-owner and the general manager of the Supernovas.
So coming up next on the Bro Code Podcast ATL, presented by iHeartMedia, we hope that you guys enjoyed the show. Of course, as we get more correspondence, of course, with me, T, Jackson, we also got Tyler and Marcus. They're going to be a part of the show. We've got Eddie Berto. He's our correspondent for K.L.P. Aftermath First Take, but he'll be on the show today too. They probably already premiered on the show already. We're expanding the show, and I just want to say again, thank you guys for tuning in for the podcast. You know, we work really hard on this show. Now, shifting gears, on my next story, Major League Baseball. Let's talk about it. As the Milwaukee Brewers piled up wins at faster pace than anyone in the MLB so far, one of baseball's smallest payrolls, the one question is being asked throughout the sport: what's their secret? What is it, right? Of course, with the top story being for how the Brewers have built a $115 million MLB powerhouse. A lot of money. Let me tell you, these sports, whether you're WNBA, MLB, NBA, there's a lot of money being made in sports right now, right? Now, those in the Brewers organization is this: there is no classified formula for their successes so far in this season. But the answer might be the best summed up in an eternal game the organization plays called check game. Now, Pat Murphy, he's the Brewers manager, he told ESPN recently, he said, this is what he said. He said, in quote, "It started in the coach's room." And also in quote, he says, this Pat Murphy says, "To remind us, it's not about us, it's about the team. Anyone is fair game." Now, the rules of the check game are simple. A lot of people know. If you talk about your own accolades, ladies and gentlemen, you get a check. You can try to defend yourself, that's a check. If you pass on blame to someone else, that might be a check as well. Right? Pat Murphy continues to say, and if you, and this we can cuss on the show, he says, in quote, "And if you bitch about a check, you get a bigger check," with a smile. So general manager Matt Arnold for the Brewers was a two-time defending champion. If he said something about a player like, "We drafted him in Tampa," that was a check, right? Even owner Matt Tanazano, I probably butchered that name, isn't off limits. Of course, this is what Murphy continues to say. In quote, he says, he would come in just for the plane with his Milwaukee Brewers stuff on, Murphy recalls. And he says, you wanted everyone to know you're with the Brewers, wearing your stuff in public. That's a check. His son even got a check when he had to go up into a suite in San Francisco because it was too cold. That was a check. Now, the point of the game exemplifies the concern or effort across the organization to align the different departments so every voice is heard and valued, and the game makes it clear to everyone that's making the team better is more important than who gets the credit. Let me tell you, that is quite amazing. I love to see what the check game is, and that's really how the Brewers built that powerhouse, right? I think any organization, and it's not just basketball, guys, it's any type of sports organization. I like it when people hold each other accountable, right? I like it when we're able to hold people accountable, and what makes an organization great if you're holding that specific person accountable. That is one of those things that I genuinely enjoy doing. I enjoy holding people accountable to that matter. Quite interesting for sure. Shout out to the Brewers. Shout out to the MLB, Major League Baseball. It is still kicking around right now, and it's just getting on fire as of late. I can't wait to see what happens, who makes it to that World Series for sure. That's going to wrap it up here on the Bro Code Podcast ATL, presented by iHeartMedia. Guys, stay tuned on Friday. I'm lying. We're going to be filming on Friday. We're going to be broadcasting, of course, East Broncos football on Friday night. But stay tuned on Saturday, I meant to say, as we upload our content, our behind the scenes of Friday Night Lights, Friday Night Football. We're going to be in the building yet again to give you guys our take on East Broncos matchup. It's going to be very exciting. And, of course, on Monday's Bro Code Podcast, we're going to be talking about Friday night. So it's going to be very exciting. Busy times for K.L.P. Entertainment, guys. Busy time for Bro Code Podcast. Guys, if you're listening to our podcast, thank you guys so very much. If you're listening it on any audio platform you get your podcast from, we thank you. But if you're watching the video version, we also thank you for that as well. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. As we're the Bro Code Podcast. We're growing. We're growing up to great heights for sure. And I can't wait for the next new episode again. We're going to wrap it up this weekend, of course. Stay tuned, by the way. Friday, it's going to be uploaded. What Happened Was with me and Evelyn and Letitia, our official podcast episode over there. It's going to be uploaded on Friday. That's going to be very exciting for us to wrap for the weekend. That's going to be it for the Bro Code Podcast for right now. We'll catch you guys on Saturday for social medias, and we'll catch y'all again. Next new show on Monday, next Monday as well. Until then, we like to say so long, stay safe, stay swanky.
Hey yo, ATL, stand up. You're locked in with the livest, realest, rawest talk in the game. This is the Bro Code Podcast ATL, where the culture talks back, the vibes stay heavy, and the code always respected. Don't touch that dial. Keep it right here, because we breaking the code live from the A.